Just weeks ago, the people of Shepparton in Victoria feared that thousands of fruit industry jobs could be canned.
But as we've been reporting this morning, things are looking up. SPC's Managing Director Peter Kelly joins us now from Sydney. Peter Kelly, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
You've struck a $70 million contract with Woolworths to provide their home brand canned fruit and vegetables. So what are the particulars of the deal?
Well, it means that Woolworths will be exclusive with us in fruit products, both in cans and in jars, as well as in snack packs, as well as ranging 2 more SKUs in tomatoes, which will basically triple our volume in tomatoes.
So is this contract alone enough to keep you in business in Shepparton?
We're going to be in business anyway. We announced a month ago a $100
Yes.
million investment that will keep us in the business there. So this just reinforces that investment. It's going to be wonderful to have a good partnership with Woolies. We can take to them these products, but also all the innovations that we've got planned in the years ahead. Make sure that we've got a good home for those with Australia's biggest retailers.
Same number of employees, any work losses or new hires required?
We are going to have to, of course, grow more fruit, and that's going to mean more people processing the fruit, driving the trucks to deliver it, and all that sort of thing. At the same time, though, we have to be more productive in our plant, and we've got a big productivity goal with our workforce. As you would have known, we're not at war with our workforce. Our workforce knows what the targets are. I think the number of employees that we have over time should actually shrink a little bit still, because we're going to be more and more productive. We have to close the price gap on shelf to make sure that consumers keep on buying the Australian product.
So what then was all this fuss about the $25 million bailout that the company apparently needed in order to survive? It seems that you've done just fine on your own with, of course, $22 million from the Victorian State Government.
Yeah, $22 million from the Victorian State Government, $78 million from Coca-Cola Amatil. The way that I view that, the $25 million from the federal government was probably the best $25 million that we never got, because it raised with the consumers everywhere the issues that SPC is facing. They saw the fight that we were having. They saw that the ground on which we were fighting wasn't a level playing field, and they've responded really in a magnificent way. In the first 2 months of this year, our sales are well ahead of last year and growing in ways that we never expected. That was kind of the linchpin for CCA and the Victorian government to go ahead with the investment.
The best $25 million you never got.
That's the way I describe it. I mean,
you're picking up, I'm sure, my disbelief here, because people went through hoops for you, went through hoops over SPC, and there was a very high-profile member of the Liberal coalition who put her name on the line as well for SPC, and now you're saying, I'm glad we never got it. That's a little rough.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get it, because it raised with everyday consumers, everyday Australians, the issues that SPC is facing. We could never
just to jump in there, wasn't there another way of getting that public awareness and understanding without taking so many people to the wall over this $25 million? It
certainly wasn't a planned move on our part. It raised in the awareness of everyday Australians, though. We've had an increase, for example, in our branded sales in Woolworths. Branded peach and pear sales, a 60% growth this year so far. No one could plan that to happen. No one would have planned that kind of reaction from Australians, and I think it's a very positive thing. Our employees are thrilled. Our engagement with our employees has never been higher. They're proud of the way that we fought the fight, and I think this is a great reaction that we're getting from retailers now, from everyday consumers, as I said before, to support the brands, and that's the thing that's going to keep us in business forever: consumer support for our products.
Peter Kelly, any concerns, though, that any other company that might go to the government now saying that we need this money, that perhaps you've created a boy that cries wolf situation for them?
I don't think that's true at all, Virginia. I think we really do have a big fight on our hands. We've got an amazing amount of support from CCA. They've invested in the business when many others would walk away, would leave the country, make products in other countries that are cheaper. I think that ours is actually a great story about staying and fighting the fight properly. We've been very decent and straightforward with our requests all along, and I think people are responding to that by consuming our products in ways that we hadn't expected them to.
But again, back to that bewilderment, that was exactly the point the federal government was making, was saying that with a wealthy parent company like Coca-Cola Amatil, they surely must be able to make this investment themselves and not go under, and your company will survive. So after all of this hullabaloo, it turns out that that's the case.
No, I don't. I think you're missing the point. I don't think what the federal government thought was that by denying their requests, we'd suddenly create a 60% increase in our branded sales on shelves in supermarkets.
No, the federal government thought that you definitely, with a rich parent company, that you could survive.
Every company, Virginia, needs to make a return. If there's no prospects for a return in a company, that company won't survive, whether it's backed by CCA or any other company in the world. So we had to get our business back to a position where we're selling more fruit, selling more of our products like Taylor's jam, Taylor's sauces, Taylor's soups, IXL jams. If we don't sell those with the consumer support, we don't have a business. And the turnaround that's happened is, the trigger that's happened is, everyone has seen the SPC story. They're starting to question, where does their food come from? Where's the quality of that food that comes from overseas? And they're buying our products in numbers that we would never have anticipated. That's what's caused the turnaround, not anything else.
What's your understanding with Woolworths as part of this contract about your own brand goods, though? Isn't there going to be a competition now between your brand and the home brand?
Yeah, it's a mixture of branded products and Woolworths Select brands that will be selling to Woolworths, and that's fine with me. That's the way it's always been. There's always been those two types of products on sale, so nothing's changed there, except everything in the Woolworths store is going to be coming from Australia and grown in the Goulburn Valley.
But of course, there's been many complaints made over the years by the owners of the national brands, so-called, that they're not given priority. The home brands are given the big gondolas, they're given the high profile, that they're given the push, and not the national brands. So will that happen to the SPC branded product, do you think?
Well, our relationship with Woolies is very good at the moment, as you can see from this deal that we're announcing today. All I can do is talk from my experience, and I've been in the business now for 10 months, trying to turn SPC around, and I can tell you from that time, every time I've gone to the senior executives in Woolies, and in Coles and in IGA as well, and asked for things to be redressed where we thought it was unfair, we've had a very favourable response. So I'm anticipating that all good retailers will respond to the consumer, and right now, as I said, the consumer, the biggest thing that's changed in the SPC story is that the consumer is asking for Australian products to be ranged.
So beyond the contract, how long does this keep you viable?
Well, we're viable anyway. We announced that we're going to bat on because of this groundswell of support that we're receiving all across Australia. We're having all retailers support us in different ways and in better ways. We're getting a lot more sales from consumers, so we're already viable. This adds to it. I think the thing that this really does is it gives us certainty. A 5-year deal is very, very unusual, and it gives us certainty if we're going to ask growers to be trying to grow more fruit again and more tomatoes, more peaches and pears and other things. We need some long-term certainty that there's going to be a home for it. We've spent too many years in recent years buying fruit and then having to destroy it because there was nowhere to sell it. That's why this change is so important.
Peter Kelly, thank you for making time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.